And here he is as well. Dan, good to see you. We wanted to speak to you just to get you and Crouchy standing next to Joe again.
Yeah, I'll be a meme again somewhere.
The guys were just saying how well you played in that game, Dan. They thought it was a scandal that Ali McCoist gave man of the match to Fabian Schär.
No way. Ali's normally backs me as well. I can't wait the next time I see him. Ali's normally my biggest fan. So. But hey, listen, I'm happy for Fabi. It was a good performance. I said beforehand that was sort of... There's been a lot of external noise around the club and really wanted to put in a performance and tell people that we're sort of here to stay. And I thought we did that. Maybe we didn't have the quality right at the top end to score today, but we got in some good positions, so we're happy.
Crouchy, do you want to tell Dan what you were calling him when we were watching that game?
Franz Bernabauer. You happy with that?
He's happy. I think it's not the worst one I've had.
It's not bad, is it?
Dan, can I ask you about your career? Because last year, what a season for you, scoring in the final, England. What you seem to have gone up another level. What's your aims for this year on a personal level? Obviously with the World Cup coming forward and all that.
Yeah, just sort of carry on from last season. I mean, I think confidence is a huge thing. I know that I've got the manager's got confidence in me, and I've played a lot of games with Fabi now as well. So I think it's just more of the same. And that I'm trying not to think about the World Cup too much. I know that obviously last season it wasn't even on my radar, and now it's a chance, but I just want to keep performing how I'm performing, and everything else will sort of take care of itself.
You spoke, Dan, as well about the external noise. What was the feeling like in the dressing room at the end of that? How encouraged is everyone by the performance?
No, very proud. I said it a few days ago. I said nobody in our change room's achieved anything they've done by themselves. We're all sort of involved in that, and we wouldn't be here without everyone else. We've got a really good team spirit in there, and we've worked hard to maintain that. So yeah, just sort of very, very proud of the lads.
You obviously missed Isak up front, but how did you think the front three fared today? Tremendous pace.
Yeah, so quick, especially on the counter attack. I think we've got sort of four of the best wingers in the league. Villa played quite a high line, so we're going to try and use that as much as possible. And I thought we got into some good positions, but as I said, I'd rather be in those positions and missing than sort of not creating those opportunities.
And Crouchy was calling you Dan Bernabauer. How did you feel about the way you seemed to really get on top of Ollie Watkins in that game?
No, I like that. I like playing against Ollie and sort of more physical players where I can sort of get a hold of them and do that. It was when I was coming up against Aguero and stuff that I used to hate, those type of players. But I think that's something that I worked on. It's something that I want to be better at, sort of more physically dominant. I spoke about last season. I was purposely trying to put weight on. For that reason, changing sort of left back to centre back and trying to reap the rewards now.
Can you tell me how you did put weight on?
Greg.
I've struggled for years.
I'll give you a gym programme.
Let me know.
And it wasn't all perfect today. The guys were singing your praises, but you had that moment from the set piece, you and Fabian. You went from Dan Bernabauer to the Chuckle Brothers.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it was a good clearance. I thought that's the problem with me. I never score enough goals, but I said to Fabi, if he had given us a shout, is this it?
That was obviously something you worked on. Did he not shout? Did he not shout?
If Fabi gives us a shout, I'll let it go, but I was just trying to keep it in. Yeah. I thought it was a good tackle anyway. Hey, listen, so we've got a new set-piece coach now, so we're working on a lot of different stuff, and I think it'll take time to get the ideas that we're trying to do, but I think it's something that everybody's doing in the game now, and you've got to try and take advantage of it.
And Anthony Gordon, when he gave his interview at the end of the game, he had a huge smile on his face. He was almost licking his lips when he was talking about that Liverpool game at St James's next up. What are you expecting? Do you think it's going to be a bit spicy, that one?
Yeah, probably. I think it's... So we beat Liverpool in the final, but apart from that, we've never beat them in the league. Something that sort of we've targeted, we've wanted to do. And I think sort of probably everything that may have gone on this off-season, it's going to make it a good game. But listen, we'll be bang up for that. It's our first game at home on a Monday night, and I'm sure the Geordies will make the stadium rotten.
I'm sure they'll be behind you. Dan, thanks for coming out to talk to us.
Nice
well
one.
done today.
Thanks very much. Cheers, mate.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
You thought it was a scandal, Ali giving Schär the player of the match.
Biggest scandal of the season so far.
Do you think he did it just to wind you two up?
I don't know.
I think he was very excited by the crossfield.
It's only game number
he got
one.
sucked in by a crossfield. these modern commentators, they all the tiki-taka. Me and Crouchy were just appreciating the defending. And from the start of the game, the first four duels and headers set the tone. We highlighted it a little bit at half-time. So when you've got a centre-half who just come in and just win in the header, it sets the tone with it. You can get 3 or 4 yards up the pitch. Both centre-halves were brilliant. I just think Dan Burn was just shaded Shah a little bit. I thought he was outstanding.
As a striker, though, how disappointed will Ollie Watkins be with that today?
I think it's difficult. I think, the service wasn't great to him as well. I thought, his hold-up play wasn't great. He didn't really get into the game, but I think it was a lot to do with some of the service. I think maybe if he makes those runs kind of either side of the centre half, he has to be found. They've got enough quality, Villa, to find him, but just didn't feel it connected today.
Crouchy, I think when Emery looks at the video of the game, and it's the wrong type of service, wasn't it? Like you said, it needed to go into Kamara, turn around the corner, and then it was channels. Do you know what I mean? And then Watkins, you're asking him to fight a fight he doesn't want to do. Backing on with Burn and Shah, just seeing long balls coming up. If you can get him around the outside, but that needed more quality in the midfield. And I'll credit Newcastle's midfield as well. They were blocking angles and they were just better than Villa for the first 45 minutes.
Dan Burn as well, that's his strength. If Ollie Watkins is back to goal, the ball's in the air, he's always going to dominate him there. If Ollie Watkins can sprint around the sides, down the corners, and they can just feed it into him, and you've got Dan Burn going the other way, it's a different thing.
Clean.
Anthony, great response from the Newcastle fans behind you. This is a really tough place to come. How do you see the point you earned here on the first day?
Yeah, it's a bit strange really, because coming here you would have probably took a point because they're a great team, it's a great atmosphere and a hard place to play, but in the end with the sending off you want to win the game, and I felt like we were just a little bit sloppy in the final third, so yeah, I feel like we could have done better, but we'll take the point.
How frustrating was that sending off for you? Because if you hadn't been pulled down, you were through on goal.
Yeah, it's one of them. If he doesn't pull me down, I go through and score, but in the end, they have a player less, so we sort of win either way, but I think once they get the man sent off, we've got to find a way of being better, a bit more composed around the goal.
How did you find it playing down the middle today and adapting to that role?
I really like it. I feel like as my career progresses, I feel like I will end up more central anyway. So it's come a bit earlier than I imagined, but I'm really enjoying it. It's just going to take some getting used to, I think.
How has the Alexander Isak talks about his future affected you all as teammates? Because it must have been difficult.
Yeah, it has been difficult because we're such a tight-knit group. So for that to we've never really had any problems publicly, and that being the first thing that's happened, it's tested us. But you see today, we've still got that spirit, we've still got that togetherness. And, we work on it every day. It's never going to go regardless of individuals. So we're a top group. Our togetherness is top, and it always will be.
Can something like this almost bring you closer together?
Yeah, it can do. But like I said, we're so together anyway. And I think, like you said, things like this can sort of battle test you and make you better in the end. And I think that's going to be the case.
It's a massive game up next at home against Liverpool. You must be looking forward to getting back in front of those home fans, and with a massive game like that too.
Yeah, I think with everything that's gone on, I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be a bit wild. I'm just excited to see the home fans again, get back in the stadium, and it's going to be a top game.
Unai, a point to start the season. What's your assessment of your team's performance?
Never. We must be happy losing 2 points at home, but with the circumstances we had with the red card and how we were the last 30 minutes more or less with extra time, we have to accept it. The first half we weren't controlling the game like we planned. They did it better with the duels we were taking individually as well, and we didn't have a lot of chances to score. They had one very clear, but they maybe deserve a little bit more than us in the first half. The second half we started very well. We changed a little bit some tactical position, and we were controlling better. We were stopping them in our build-up. We were even in creating zone a lot of times with better position, and we could attack their box. Really, we didn't have a lot of chances as well, but we were more or less in good moment in that time. And after the red card, of course, the match changed completely again, and we needed defense like we did strongly. Our mentality, we kept every player to do this commitment defensively, and we didn't concede a lot of chances as well. Maybe some crosses, but not clear. And I think we have to accept this point after more or less the first summary I can make for this match.
from what you've seen today and all the work you've been doing with your squad throughout the summer, how happy are you with what you've got at this moment moving forward for the season? And can the Aston Villa fans expect some new players in?
We drew today against one team. Last year they achieved to play in Champions League, and we had the same point at the season. Of course, we are starting drawing at home. Of course, at home always our expectation is to win. But we started more or less with this point, thinking against this team is the level we want to face. We want to check as well. And Newcastle is the highest level we are going to face this year in Premier League and in Europe League and another cups. Of course, this is the first test we are having, and it's very important how the players respond on the field, and how we can feel comfortable and confident for the next matches.
Thank you, Unai.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Unai Emery talked about being disappointed, I guess, with losing 2 points at home, but then having to be happy because of the circumstances with the red card for Konza, which came after 66 minutes. But before that, Peter, he really felt, and it certainly looked like Villa were growing into the game and certainly up things.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I think that it'd be overall pretty disappointed with the performance. I think Newcastle were creating a lot more chances. They struggled to create any. I thought Villa. I thought having gone down to 10 men, I thought they coped reasonably well, considering I thought Kamara did a good job kind of covering in at centre half, and it was all kind of hands to the pump, and this was the issue here. I think if you look at Matty Cash's cross there, you've got all the men in the box, they've all got in, there's no one on the edge trapping it. Dina maybe could have come in and covered it, but this is what Newcastle are about now. I mean, the front three that they've got now with Murphy as well. Unbelievable pace from Elanga, and Gordon makes a fantastic run, stays in his own half, gets a cross in, does everything right, and it was definitely a red card.
Ezri Konza looked a bit miffed, but as Crouchy said, Joe, was it really clear?
Clear. Wrong side. I said the problem early on in that clip was you have to stop the counter-attack at source. And Luca Digne could have better position, probably could have been a tighter there. Kamara could have come round. You're nitpicking, but when you're playing against this Newcastle side, you have to suffocate them, because once they get turned of you, Elanga, Barnes and Gordon, it's a problem. Once Gordon's got going, he's come across Constant, and it's a foul, it's a penalty. No, sorry, a red card. 3
red cards in the last 4 games in the Premier League as well. That's something that they're going to have to get a grip on, isn't it, going forwards this season? Yeah, definitely.
Listen, you can't be doing that. You're going down to 10 men, you're always going to struggle. But as the manager said there, Emery, in the first half, I felt like they were losing their duels. Like we were saying, Dan Burn was kind of bullying Watkins at times, and they were losing duels in the middle of the park, and that's something that you can't tolerate. You shouldn't be losing the first game of the season, coming out kind of that slow. Must have been disappointing for him.
Actually, I think Emery's got to break this game down into 3 sections. This first half, not good enough from his team, 11 against 11. Like Crouchy said, they wasn't at it. There was no intensity. Then they responded at half-time. There was a switch. They were just on the front for urgency. And then you have to give them credit for hanging on with 30 minutes. So you have to break it down in 3 times. But they want a better performance next week, that's for sure.
What does he need now going forwards, especially with the Europa League campaign to play in? One he'll feel he can win again with his record.
I think it's tough for Villa, because they haven't been able to spend the money that they would have liked. Like I said, losing Ramsey, it's another player leaving the squad. They're going to rely on the younger players in the squad, the ones on the peripheries, particularly in the Europa League maybe, because they won't want to throw the Premier League away, and they're going to have to be at it. They like you said, they was level on points with Newcastle, and they fell out of the Champions League place. So to get to that level, they have to be so intense in what they're doing. Plus, navigate a Europa League campaign. So they need more bodies in, I think. If I'm Unai Emery, I'm going straight up to the director's box and saying, come on, guys, I'm going to need a bit more here. If we're going to fight on all 4 fronts.
What would be the priority, though? Because Joel says, it's going to be tough with the restrictions they're operating in. They might have to be very selective.
No, I agree. I think, obviously they've got the forward in from Nice that, we're yet to see. I mean,
like French there, Guesson.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. John Duran obviously was lost as well, wasn't he? So, but listen, they've got a fantastic squad capable of challenging for Europe, and I imagine that they will be up there by the end of the season. But like Joe said, just keeps things fresh just to add a couple more faces.
And the good news is as well, their opening run of fixtures is really kind as well, actually. If you go right up to the October international break, Brentford, the only other side apart from Newcastle, who finished in last season's top 10, it's kind of as good a run as any there, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's as good a run as you can get in the Premier League. All of them games will be competitive because that's the nature of the beast. But you know, I think the first few before the window shuts, I think are crucial. They get points on the board. Like I said, I think they've got to be creative. They've got to bring players in. I think the manager knows that because it's tough. You know, they're trying to break into the top 4, top 5, and the teams above them have spent hundreds and hundreds of millions. So you're constantly having to just, you know, go again, improve the players. Can these players do it again? The first half, they dropped below their standards. And I'm thinking sometimes, Crouchy, I don't know what you think, but you get hangover from last season. And we was at the United game on a big game for the club, and they fluffed their lines. They didn't perform, the players, after having a great season. And then you have that taste in your mouth when you're in your summer, you're worried about it, and you come back, you want to put it right on the opening day, and it was a bit more of the same. So nothing to be worried about, but a little bit more urgency in the next few games.
Yeah, a bit of work to do. I think Emery, though, as he said, happy with the point under the circumstances today. Let's see how happy Eddie Howe is with the point. He's with Jules.
Eddie, considering how tough a place Villa Park is to come, are you pleased with the point?
Yes, I think we're pleased with the point, but I think the way we played, I thought we deserved more. I thought we were excellent in the first half, especially. Magnificent performance. Dominated most aspects of the game. We just couldn't score. Second half, probably until the red card, I don't think that was our best period in the game, and then we came strong again with 11 v 10, but can't fault the players' attitudes, what they've given today. I thought we were magnificent.
As you say, it was such a confident start, a really lively start from Newcastle. 8 shots in that first half. Why do you think it wasn't quite the same as you came out for the second half?
Well, it was a hot day, so I think maybe we struggled to keep the momentum and the intensity that we were playing at. I thought we made it difficult for them to gain any control in the game. Yeah, I think the home team's always going to have a period in the game where, especially one of the quality of Aston Villa, where they're slightly on top, but we defended really well today. Full compliment to the team in terms of how we navigated that period. We didn't concede, and we were going strong at the end trying to win.
How do you think Anthony Gordon did playing in that striker role? I
thought he did really well. I thought he looked a real threat. I mean, he plays it uniquely to him. He's less of a focal point and more of a drifter across the pitch, but he's got pace and he runs in behind, and he causes teams problems in that respect. And probably a better example of that, no better example of that, was a sending off.
Yeah, new signing Anthony Langer, also with lots of pace. How do you think he did in his first competitive match?
Really good, really good. I thought he was direct. Showed real quality as well with that directness. Yeah, he looks a player that will elevate us. And then Jacob came on and did well. So I was pleased with everybody today. I don't think there was a weakness in our team, hence we played so well and should have won.
There's obviously still the ongoing saga with Alexander Isak. How do you hope this is resolved in the coming days or weeks?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer. I hope it's resolved quickly, because it's sort of news around us all the time rather than focusing on what we need to do on the pitch and all the things that go into a performance today. Then players manage to shut that out and just perform, and we've done that consistently, so we're going to have to continue to do that, and we could do without the narrative against us, but what will be will be.
Liverpool next. That one could be spicy with all that's going on.
Well, I think it's always spicy against Liverpool. There's a history with the fixture anyway, Newcastle v Liverpool. It's been an unbelievable fixture over the years, Premier League years. So we look forward to it. We respect them and we know how good they are. But hopefully off the back of today, we're ready for it.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie Howe saying he was really pleased with the performance, happy with Gordon, with Anthony Elanga today as well. Felt his side did deserve more. On the Isak situation, though, saying he really hopes it's resolved quickly, which I'm sure is the same for everyone involved. Joe, do you think he needs to be trying to sort of lay down a deadline to get a resolution on this, or is that just not possible?
It's out of Eddie's hands. You know, Eddie, this is the thing about being a football manager in the Premier League. You know, a lot of this stuff is above, the directors we talking, agents and whatnot. Eddie's job is to coach the team and get the team ready. And the team looked really ready today. I was impressed with them right from the off, the intensity. And Anthony Gordon speaking afterwards about the togetherness. You can see that within this squad. You know, Guimaraes, Tonali, Joe Linton, they look like warriors in the midfield. I wouldn't want to play against them as a midfield player. And that's the biggest compliment you can pay them. Eddie, it's out of his hand. You can't. It's money. It's negotiations. It's, you know, not returning a phone call for 24 hours. It's, you know, trying to squeeze a little bit out of the deal. What's the deal look like for Liverpool? What does it look like for Newcastle and the lad? So it's complicated. It's out of Eddie's hand. Eddie's just the front. Eddie will have to, you know, front the press, and we have to ask him the questions because the Newcastle fans do and all that. But ultimately, it's the guys above him.
And the problem is there's been so much change with the hierarchy as well above him, which is making it more difficult. Do you feel in a way that he's been a bit let down by the club? Because he's certainly doing his part with the team on the pitch in what he's delivering.
Yeah, there were stories that Isak was promised a pay rise for whatever reason. Maybe that didn't materialise. And it's got to the point now where he obviously wants to leave the club. And it's so difficult for the manager but the way he explained it there, whichever the outcome, he wants it done as soon as possible, because it's just a cloud hanging over a club that's done things the right way, you know. And I think they've been brilliant in the way that they've gone about things. Certainly since Eddie Howe's been there, the players they've brought in have all worked, and it's a club moving in the right direction. This is just a cloud hanging over them. I think with Isak. It's going to be so hard to integrate him back into the side now. Eddie there was quite honest and about saying whatever happens, it's swiftly. But I think you can see in his face it'd be so difficult to integrate him back into the team now, especially with the fans singing what they were singing at the end about him. And it's not a good situation for anyone at the club.
Yeah, Fletch and Ali said it's integrating him into the team, but it's also integrating him back in with a fan base. But going back to Eddie, I think's been fantastic in controlling what he can control in the situation right the way through his time at Newcastle. I think he ain't going to be till come the day when he leaves the club, you know, you people go, what a job he's done there. I think he's managed it perfectly. I look at them today and I think they're in a better position than Villa for me. You know, out of two clubs, they've got the European football to look forward to, the big competition, and I just think you just want to get this situation done and dusted. If he leaves, get someone in, strengthens around him. But I think it looked positive today for the club.
While he's at the club, though, I mean, you know, he's not training or he's not playing. While he's at the club and they're not scoring, there'll always be that. Can we get him back in? You know, it's like because they've not scored today as well as they've played. They haven't scored.
Yeah.
And he's sitting at home.
Yeah, in the last 5 Premier League games, without him, they haven't actually scored from open play. Newcastle without Isak, so it's a worry without that focal point.
Yeah, it is a worry, but you know, I think that even having said that, I think the front three looked very sharp today, and there's no doubt in my mind those players will score goals.